Attention seniors, if you carry a debit card in your wallet or purse, you need to hear this. A brand new scam called the Ghost Tap is spreading faster than anything I've seen in years. And criminals are targeting older people because they know you're more likely to carry your card in easy-to-reach places. In just 3 seconds, without touching you, they can drain your account. And you may not even realize until days later. I'm Michael, and today I'm going to explain exactly what the Ghost Tap scam is, how it works, why your bank may not automatically refund you, and most importantly, the legal and practical steps you can take to protect yourself. So stay with me until the end because I'll also share the one free item that can make you practically immune to this trick, and it costs less than a cup of coffee. Part 1. What the Ghost Tap scam actually is. The Ghost Tap scam is one of the most unsettling tricks I've seen in my years because it uses everyday payment technology that most of us have come to trust without question. You see, in the past, debit and credit card theft usually involved someone physically taking your card, skimming it in a dodgy ATM, or tricking you into typing your details into a fake website. But the Ghost Tap is different. It doesn't require your card to leave your wallet, purse, or even your pocket. And it can happen silently in under 3 seconds. Here's the technology behind it. Most modern debit cards are equipped with something called NFC, which stands for Near Field Communication. This is what allows you to tap your card at a checkout machine and have the transaction go through instantly without inserting it or typing a PIN. It's convenient to convenient. Criminals have realized that if stores can use this technology to take payments, so can they. All they need is a portable payment terminal, the same kind you see on cafe counters or with food delivery drivers. And these are shockingly easy to buy online. Imagine this. You're standing in line at the pharmacy in Atlanta holding your handbag on your shoulder. A man behind you shuffles forward, seemingly impatient. You think nothing of it. In reality, hidden in his jacket pocket is a small payment reader. As he steps close enough, your card, which is quietly broadcasting its readiness to tap, makes contact with his device through your bag. A tiny transaction, say $40, is instantly processed. You don't hear a beep. You don't get a vibration on your phone. You simply go about your day. And it doesn't stop there. Professional scammers use the Ghost Tap in high-traffic places, trains in Chicago, buses in New York, shopping centers in Miami. Even during large events when people are distracted and moving in tight spaces, they might hit you for $30 in one place, then again for $60 later in the day. By keeping transactions under the bank's fraud detection threshold, often around $100, they stay invisible to security systems. The first time you realize anything is wrong is when you check your account balance days later and see a cluster of mystery charges. The truly frightening part, because no card is stolen and there's no PIN entry or obvious skimming device involved. Many victims initially doubt that anything even happened. They assume they must have made the purchases and forgotten, which is exactly what the scammers are hoping for. Part 2. Why older adults are being targeted from a criminal's perspective. Older adults are a prime target for ghost tap scams, and unfortunately, I've seen this trend grow rapidly in just the past year. It's not that seniors aren't careful. In fact, many are far more mindful with their belongings than younger people. The real reason comes down to opportunity, habit, and perception. First, there's accessibility. Many seniors carry their wallets or purses in ways that make them easier to approach without suspicion. Think about it. You might keep your handbag looped loosely over your arm or your wallet in a coat pocket. You might set it on a counter while signing paperwork or place it on the seat beside you while waiting for an appointment. In all of these moments, someone carrying a concealed payment terminal could step close enough to trigger a tap payment without you noticing. Second, there's the issue of familiarity with the technology. While most seniors know what tap and go is, fewer are aware of how vulnerable it can be when the feature is always switched on. Many people still assume that if they didn't physically hand over their card, no payment could be made. But the ghost tap thrives on the fact that your card is constantly broadcasting its readiness to connect, whether you're aware of it or not. I've worked on cases where scammers specifically scoped out environments frequented by older adults. Community centers in Los Angeles, grocery stores during weekday mornings in Dallas, libraries in Seattle, and pharmacies in Boston. They'll often blend in, appearing as just another customer, or even wearing a fake staff lanyard to lower suspicion. They know that in these settings, people are less likely to suspect a threat and more likely to be focused on something else. Reading a notice board, counting change, or chatting with a friend. And finally, there's a perception problem. Criminals believe, sometimes wrongly, that older victims won't know how to check their bank app quickly, or won't notice small unauthorized charges right away. This gives scammers a longer window to hit the same victim multiple times before the fraud is reported. In some cases, I've seen seniors didn't notice the charges until their monthly statement arrived, by which point hundreds of dollars were gone. It's a cruel exploitation of both trust and routine. Part 3. The legal gray area and why banks sometimes refuse refunds. This is where my background comes in. Because while most people assume that any fraudulent transaction will automatically be refunded by the bank, the reality is more complicated. Banking laws in the US are designed to protect consumers from unauthorized transactions. On paper, that sounds like a guarantee, but in practice, the definition of unauthorized can be surprisingly narrow. With a ghost tap, your physical card is still in your possession. No one has stolen it, cloned it, or broken into your account online. The payment was made using your actual card's chip and antenna. And here's the sticking point in the exact way it was designed to work. From the bank's perspective, the system did its job. A contactless payment was requested and your card responded. There was no PIN failure, no declined transaction, no obvious breach. In cases I've handled, banks sometimes argue that the charge must have been authorized by the card holder simply because the contactless feature was active and the card was present. Proving otherwise becomes difficult without security footage or a clear witness statement. And because ghost tap scammers often keep transactions small, banks may not investigate as aggressively as they would for larger sums. Another challenge is timing. Many banks require you to report suspicious transactions within a very short window, sometimes just 24 or 48 hours, for the strongest consumer protections to apply. If you only notice the charges after a week or two, your claim may be weaker. In some disputes, I've seen banks suggest that a family member or friend must have used the card with implied permission, an argument that shifts the burden of proof entirely onto the victim. The reality is that while you can often get your money back, it's not always quick or straightforward. It may involve filing multiple reports, providing written statements, and even escalating to a financial ombudsman or regulatory body like the CFPB if the bank resists. This process can be exhausting, and sadly, scammers know that many victims, especially seniors, won't have the time or energy to push that hard. That's why prevention is so critical with the ghost tap scam. Once the money is gone, the fight to reclaim it can be far more stressful than most people expect. Part 4. How to protect yourself right now. The good news is that while the ghost tap scam is sneaky, it's also one of the easiest scams to block if you take action today. The criminals rely on two things: that your tap-to-pay feature is always switched on, and that you're carrying your card in a place where their device can get close enough to it. If you break either of those conditions, you become an extremely difficult target. Let's start with physical protection. Refund blocking sleeves and wallets are the single most effective barrier against ghost tap attacks. These work by creating a shield around your card that stops the radio signal from leaving it. So, even if a payment terminal is placed directly against your bag or pocket, the card stays silent. You can buy these online in office supply stores or even in some supermarkets for as little as $5. If you use a wallet with multiple card slots, make sure every contactless card is protected. Not just your debit card, but also any credit cards, travel cards, or access POSs with tap functionality. Another layer of defense is disabling the tap-to-pay feature entirely. For some people, convenience is worth the risk, but for many seniors, turning off contactless payments altogether is the safest choice. You can do this by calling your bank or, in many cases, changing the settings in your mobile banking app. Once disabled, your card will only work when physically inserted into a machine and verified with a PIN. Yes, it adds a few seconds to each transaction, but it eliminates the ghost tap risk completely. Next, consider where and how you carry your card. The closer it is to the outside of your clothing or bag, the easier it is for a scammer to reach it. If you keep it in your handbag, use an inside zip compartment. If it's in your pocket, make it an inner pocket, preferably on the side away from where people can brush past you. Scammers prefer quick, low-risk moves. If they have to maneuver awkwardly to get close, they'll likely move on to someone else. And finally, build a habit of checking your account every day. This doesn't have to be time-consuming. Just open your banking app, scroll through your most recent transactions, and look for anything you don't recognize. no matter how small. Ghost tap charges are often deliberately kept under $100 to avoid triggering fraud alerts. So, don't dismiss a $12 or $30 payment as a minor mistake. If you didn't make it, treat it seriously and take action right away. I've seen clients who, after following these steps, went from being hit multiple times in a month to not having a single suspicious charge in over a year. Prevention really does work here, but only if you put the measures in place before you become a target. Part 5. What to do if you're a victim. Even with all the precautions in the world, scams can still happen. And if you find yourself a victim of the ghost tap, speed is everything. The sooner you act, the better your chances of getting your money back and stopping the scammer from hitting other people. The first step is to contact your bank immediately. Use the fraud or lost card number printed on the back of your card. This will connect you directly to the department that can lock your card and begin an investigation. When you call, be clear and firm. Tell them you suspect a contactless payment fraud called Ghost Tap and that you need the transactions reversed. Ask for a dispute claim number right away. This will be your reference for all future conversations about the case. The second step is to request written confirmation that you've reported the fraud. This can be an email or a letter, but make sure it clearly lists the disputed transactions and the date you reported them. Having this paper trail can be crucial if the bank pushes back or tries to argue you reported too late. Next, file a police report. In some areas, the police may not be able to investigate every small transaction, but the report creates an official record of the crime. This record can strengthen your case with the bank and is often required by financial ombudsmen services if you need to escalate the matter. When filing the report, give as much detail as possible where you were that day, the times you noticed the charges, and any unusual encounters you had. Then document everything. Take screenshots of your account showing the unauthorized charges. Write down the names of every bank representative you speak to along with the date and time of the conversation. Keep copies of all emails and letters. This is not just busy work. In cases I've handled, the victims who were most meticulous about their records were the ones who got their refunds fastest. If your bank refuses to refund you, don't give up. Ask them to put their decision in writing. Then escalate it to your country's Financial Complaints Authority. For example, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, in the US. These bodies can review the case independently and often pressure banks to reconsider. Finally, take steps to prevent a repeat attack. Replace your card, disable Tap to Pay if you haven't already, and invest in RFID blocking protection. The Ghost Tap scam relies on the element of surprise. Once you've been through it and put the right measures in place, you become a far less appealing target for future attacks. According to the latest reports from 2025, Ghost Tap scams, also known as NFC relay fraud, have surged, with Chinese cybercriminals using phishing and burner phones to load stolen card data onto mobile wallets like Apple Pay and Google Pay for contactless thefts. In the US, elderly Americans lost $745 million to scams in the first 3 months of 2025 alone, with impersonation scams targeting seniors quadrupling since 2020 and total elder fraud losses reaching for $0.885 billion in 2020 for per FBI data. Credit card fraud remains the top identity theft concern, with 748,555 cases reported in the first half of 2025, up significantly from previous years. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like to help spread the word to others who need it.